Chapter 3.2 Introduction to Fractions. Okay, in this chapter we will learn 4 objectives here. So first we will write the proper fractions, improper fractions, and mixed numbers. And the next objective is to write equivalent fractions. And third one is identify the order relation between two fractions. So which fraction is larger and which fraction is smaller. And the last one is solve application problem. Okay, first of all, what is a fraction? Okay, fraction is the number of equal parts of a whole, which means, here is a circle. Let's say this is a pizza, one big pizza. And I'm gonna divide it into 8 pieces, 8 equal pieces. So from this one, let's select 3 of them. Okay, let's select 3 parts. All right, so what we did is we selected 3 equal parts, right? 3 equal parts. It's actually 3 pieces out of how many pieces? 8 pieces, right? 8 pieces. So this is the fraction. So in total, there are 8 pieces as a whole, right? 8 pieces, 8 pieces are the number of this whole pizza, right? And then from there, we'll select the 3 pieces. So each piece has the equal part. So 3 out of 8. So this is the fraction. So from this fraction, we will say the upper part, the number in the upper part is called the numerator. 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 And the bottom numbers is called the denominator. Denominator. And this, the bar between these two numbers is a fraction bar. Fraction bar. Okay, and then we call this whole thing a fraction. Okay, so fraction is the number of equal parts out of the whole numbers. All right. So 3 over 8 means actually 3 divided by 8, same as 3 divided by 8. So whenever you have the fraction bar, that means the upper part is the numerator, the bottom part is the denominator. Okay, then the proper fractions are, the proper fractions has the numerator that is smaller than the denominator. For example, 1 over 2. So in this case, the numerator is 1, right? 1. So 1 is less than the denominator 2. Okay, so always the denominator is greater than the numerator, or the numerator is always smaller than the denominator. So 3 is the numerator. So top part is smaller than the bottom. How about 3/4? Still same thing, right? So for the improper fraction, so if you actually divide 1 by 2, then that is 0.5. And if you divide 3 by 8, then that is less than 1, right? So improper fractions is always less than 1. Okay, they are less than 1. So that is improper fraction. Always the denominator is larger than the numerator. The bottom is larger. Okay, improper fractions are the numbers is of fractions that contains the numerator greater than or equal to the denominator. So the numerator is greater than the denominator. So let's say the denominator is 3, then 7 over 3 means 7. The numerator is greater. So this is the improper fraction. Or same, the numerator is same as the denominator. Then this is equal to 1, right? So these fractions are improper fractions. So if the numerator is greater, then we call it improper. If the denominator is greater, then that is proper. Get it? All right. Then let's consider, okay, what do we mean by 7 over 3? 7 over 3 means there are 7 pieces of 1/3 part. So if we draw a graph for this one, if you, let's say there is a pizza, right? Pizza. Here is a pizza, right? And then if you divide it into 3 pieces like this, so each part is 1/3, right? 1/3. So 7/3 means there are 7 of them. So 1, 2, 3, 6. Right? Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and another 1/3 part. So actually, here is 1, 2, 3 parts, right? 3 pieces, another 3 pieces, so 6 pieces, and select 1 piece out of 3. So this is equal to 7/3. Okay, 7 1/3 pieces, 7 of them. Get it? Okay, so isn't it as a whole? Isn't it 2 pieces? Right? Two. In this case, there are 2 pizzas. Right? 2 pizzas and 1/3. So this is equivalent to what? 2 pizzas and 1/3 piece of pizza. So we can write it 2 and 1/3. You can write it as 2 and 1/3. So this means 2 big pizza and then 1/3 of the pizza. So you can convert improper fraction to this number. So this number is called mixed number. Okay, this is called what? Mixed number. So mixed number contains integer and fraction together. So 2 plus 1/3 means 2 and 1/3 mixed number. And also you can convert from this mixed number to improper fraction by multiplying the integer 2 and 3. Then add the numerator to the result. So 2 times 3 is 6. 6 plus 1 is 7. So 7 goes to the numerator and denominator is the same. Okay, so this is called the mixed number. Okay, let's check different cases. Okay, so when we have a fraction like this, 7/2, then this is equivalent to 7 divided by 2. Okay, 7 divided by 2. Then it will be 3.5, right? 3.5. Okay, how about this? If we have a number, something like this, 4/4, then 4/4 means what? 4 divided by 4, which is 1, right? Which is 1. Okay, and then how about this? What if we have a number 5? Then isn't 5 same as 5/1? Isn't it? 5/1. Because 5/1 is 5 divided by 1 is 5, right? 5. So if there's no denominator, then always there is a denominator 1/1, always. So if there's number 7, then 7 is equivalent to 7/1. But we always use 7 instead of 7/1, right? So don't forget, if there's only an integer, then the denominator is always 1. Okay, always 1. And here is a very important concept. Okay, let me write the result first. Fraction, for the fractions, cannot have the denominator 0. So the denominator cannot be 0. Okay, I will say the denominator cannot be 0. Okay, keep in mind the denominator cannot be 0. Okay, don't forget this. Cannot be 0. If the denominator is 0, then we call it undefined. Okay, we call it what? Undefined. You cannot define the fraction. Very important. Denominator cannot be equal to 0. Cannot be equal to 0. Okay, then let's try. Let's try a fraction that has 0 in the numerator and the denominator. Okay, how about this? Okay, what if we have a 0 over 6? Now 0 is in the numerator, not the denominator. Then what would be this number? Okay, let's check. Okay, this one is equal to 0 divided by 6, right? 0 divided by 6. What is 0 divided by 6? Okay, let's divide 0 by 6. We can divide by 6, right? Then 6 times what is 0? So the only number that makes the product 0 is 0, right? 0. 6 times 0 is 0. So you can divide 0 evenly. So the answer is equal to what? 0. Or 0. So if the numerator is 0, then if the numerator is 0, then the result is what? 0. Okay. So 6 over 6 is 0. Let me write it here. 6 over 6 is equal to what? 0. How about let's divide a number by 0. Now, the denominator is 0. The denominator is 0. As I mentioned here, the denominator cannot be equal to 0. Then what? Cannot be equal to 0. If the denominator is 0, then it is undefined. Okay, let's check. So this is equal to 6 divided by 0. So let's divide it. So 6 divided by 0. So what can be the quotient? 0 times what is 6? 0 times 1, 0 times 2, 0 times 3 is 0, 0 times 4 is 0. Whatever the number is, if the number is multiplied by 0, then it's always 0, right? 0. So we cannot find it. We cannot find the quotient. So in that case, we cannot find the answer, so it is undefined. Okay, so if the denominator is 0, then it is undefined. Always, very, very important. So if the denominator, if a fraction contains the denominator 0, then it is equivalent to what? Undefined. Not 0, undefined. Don't forget, fraction cannot be equal to 0. Fraction cannot have the denominator 0. Denominator cannot be equal to 0. Denominator cannot be equal to 0. That means it's undefined. Undefined. If the numerator is 0, then the answer is 0. Simple. Numerator is 0 is 0. Numerator is 0, then it's 0. If the denominator is 0, then it's undefined. Okay? Cannot be 0. The denominator cannot be 0. Cannot be 0. Okay, let's find the mixed number of the fraction 5 over 2. Okay, 5 over 2 means we are dividing 5 by 2. We'll divide 5 by 2. So let's divide by 5 by 2. Then 2 times 2 is 4. And then you do the subtraction, right? Do the subtraction. Then the remainder is 1. So this is the remainder. Then you can write it as this. Okay, 2 is the quotient, right? This is the quotient. So write the quotient and then write the remainder in the numerator of the fraction. And the denominator is 2 and 2 stays the same. So this is the improper fraction. So we just convert it from improper fraction to the mixed number. So mixed number is very simple. Actually, you divide the numerator by the divisor, the denominator. Then write the quotient and then write a fraction next to it. And the remainder goes to the numerator, and the denominator is the same as the fraction in the denominator of the fraction. Okay, let's find out how to write a mixed number as an improper fraction. Okay, so first of all, okay, you have a mixed number. Then multiply the denominator of the fraction by the whole number part. Okay, and then the sum of this product and the numerator part is the numerator of the improper fraction. and the denominator remains the same. Okay, which means here is the 12 and 5 over 8. So 12 is the whole part, 5 is the numerator, 8 is the denominator. So when you convert this one to an improper fraction, what we do is multiply the whole number by the denominator, 8. So 12 multiplied by 8. And then add it to the number in the numerator, 5. Okay, so this will be the numerator of the fraction, improper fraction, and the denominator remain the same. That's it. So it will be 96 plus 5 will be the numerator, and the denominator is this 8. Then 98 plus 5 is 101. So 101 is the numerator of the improper fraction, and 8 is the denominator of the improper fraction. So for improper fraction, the numerator is always greater than or equal to the denominator, right? So that is how we convert mixed number to an improper fraction. Okay, then let's try equivalent fraction. Okay, let's try the equivalent fraction. Okay, the definition of equivalent fractions is very simple. Okay, the numerator and the denominator of a fraction, so the numerator and the denominator of a fraction can be multiplied or divided by the same non-zero number. Then this fraction is equivalent to the original fraction. So we call this equivalent fraction. So equivalent fractions have different denominators, so the numerators are also different, but they are equivalent. So for example, here is a over b. Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna multiply. So this is equivalent to. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna multiply the numerator and the denominator by the same number. Same number, let's say c, non-zero number c. All right, then this is equal to. Same thing. Yeah? This is same as a over b. How about, is it also possible to divide each number by non-zero number? So a over b is equivalent to this. You can divide both numerator and the denominator by a non-zero number c. Still, they are equivalent. Since these are the fractions, the denominators cannot be zero. Okay, so always make sure that the denominator b is not equal to 0 and c also is not equal to 0. Okay, always make sure the denominators cannot be 0. Okay, so this is a equivalent fraction, very simple. Okay, let's do some example. Okay, here is 4 over 5. So 4/5 is same as what? You can multiply both the numerator and denominator by some number, like 3. Okay, let's multiply this by 3. Then this will be 12. The numerator is 12. The denominator is 15. So these two are equivalent fraction. The values of the numerator and denominator are same. Not the same, right? Not the same, but actually they are equivalent, because if you reduce 12 over 15, then it will become 4 over 5. Okay, another example. Okay, how about let's divide this time. 20 over 32. Then I'm going to divide each numerator and the denominator by, let's say, 4. Same number, 4. Then the numerator will become 5. The denominator will become 8. So these two fractions, 20 over 32 and 5 over 8, they are equivalent fraction. We call it equivalent fractions. Okay, so these two are equivalent fractions. Simple, isn't it? Very simple. Then let's find let's find the equivalent fraction. So over here. Here is 3 over, another example. Here is 3 over 8. Then this will be equivalent to something over 40. Something over 40, right? Something over 40. So what should go over here? What should be over here? Well, we have to find the factor. So 8 became 40, right? 8 became 40. This one became 40 by multiplying what? 8 times 5 is 80, isn't it? 8 times 5 is 80. So we will multiply 3 by 5. 3 by 5, right? So the question mark will be 3 times 5, which is 15. Which is 15. So this will be 15 over 40. Make sense? So let me write it here again. So what I'm gonna do is, actually this question mark will be something like this. So 40 became 8 times 5 is 40, right? 40. So 3 times 5, we will do the same thing, 5. I'm going to multiply both numerator and denominator by what? 5. Because 40 is 8 times 5. So the result is 15 over 40, right? So the question mark is what? 15, right? 15. So the question mark is 15. Okay. This is how we find the equivalent fraction.